The global development community is well aware of the big financing gap standing in the way of meeting the Sustainable Development Goals. Current levels of financing are just not enough if we are to mobilize the trillions of dollars in funding needed to meet the goals by 2030. Take a sector like maternal health. There's an estimated $33 billion needed to guarantee maternal, child, and adolescent health in low and middle income countries. And that's where private capital needs to step in. In recent years, new and innovative financing mechanisms have been created in order to help crowd in additional private capital. You might have heard of development impact bonds, blended finance instruments, resource-based financing models. But despite all these new tools, unlocking new capital is easier said than done. The thing is, there's not only a cultural divide between the global development and finance communities, there's also a linguistic gap. Words commonly used around innovative financing can have very different meanings depending on who you ask. Think about the word risk, which might mean something completely different to an NGO working in a conflict zone than it does to a private investor thinking about financial risk. Or the word equity. For the development community, it's about ensuring access to goods, services, and resources for all members of the population, while for the finance community, it refers to shareholder equity. And same goes for the word investment.
In the financial sector, obviously investment is a well understood, commonly accepted term. I think in the development sector, investment in impact is still a growing sort of perspective. But in essence, many of the things that we do in giving grants is about investment. It's about investing in people to create impact.
Even the very word development can be misunderstood.
When I go to a meeting of bankers and investment professionals, and I say I'm in development, there's automatically a sense that I build things. I'm a construction developer. There's homes and buildings in their imagination. You have to go back to first principles and say overseas development assistance and sustainable development goals.
There are also examples of multiple terms that all relate to the same concept. Pay-for-success financing mechanisms are often referred to as social impact bonds in Europe, pay-for-success bonds in the US, and development impact bonds or DIBs in emerging economies. In fact, they're not really bonds at all in the way the finance community would understand the word. Most accurately, they are agreements whereby private investors provide upfront risk capital for the delivery of social services by a service provider. The investors are then repaid with a success premium by an outcome funder if the pre-agreed targets are met. There are very real consequences to this linguistic divide. If these two communities can't reach a common understanding around these innovative financing tools, that opens up the door for a lot of misunderstandings, misalignment, and ultimately failure.
Without that common understanding, we can have this fabulous conversation. There's a lot of highly intelligent, passionate, committed people in both of these groups of actors. And that you can sit down, everyone agrees, fantastic, we want to create impact, we want to do it in this particular sector, we want to minimize the risk. We think that we've had the best conversation ever. We get up and shake hands and go our separate ways in order to iron out the details. And once the details are in black and white, we realize that everything that we've said has been misunderstood, and that cycle of mistrust goes on all over again.
While efforts are being made to create a shared lexicon, what's most important is that the two sectors understand each other when working together, and that they're being transparent about what's working and what's not. How can the private sector and the global development community work better together on solutions to maternal health challenges? Have your say.